So this question is saying they want some advice on how to determine the functional currency of a subsidiary. Okay, so immediately you go for your knowledge marks. Straight textbook knowledge this then. The functional currency is basically the currency of the primary economic environment that it's working in. Okay, it'll be where the currency which it generates cash in and pays its expenses in. Okay, it's also the currency that the competition uses in general, that other costs are paid in. Okay, so that's the general idea, but then there's some secondary indicators. And the secondary indicators would be, look, how autonomous is the subsidiary? Because you've got to be careful that the subsidiary is not just basically the holding company using the subsidiary for what they need in that particular country. And so, is it really their currency or not? Does the sub generate enough cash for itself? Okay, then get on to the question then. So we've got this new subsidiary, and Aspire is in dollars. Aspire is the holding company. The subsidiary has issued $2 million, $2 million dinars worth of equity to Aspire. All right, which paid for these shares in dinars. So obviously all its share capital is in dinars. The subsidiary has raised 100,000 dinars of equity from external sources. So that would make it seem like dinars then. So you'd write down that, you'd say something like extra equity from dinars, but that extra equity is 100,000 compared to the 2 million. So it's only a very small amount though. Okay. And they've deposited the whole of the capital with a bank in an overseas country whose currency is the dinar. All right, so they seem to be operating in a country with dinars. Mention that bit. Do mention the scenario as you go through. I'm not, because it'll just be rewriting. I'm just writing the main points I'd make. The capital is to be invested in dinar-dominated bonds. Okay, so all they're doing is investing in dinars. All right, and the subsidiary has a small number of staff. So key word there is the small number of staff. So only small members of staff, and its operating expenses are low. And its operating expenses are in dollars, but this is not material because they're only low. Okay, then it says the profits are under the control of Aspire. So profits controlled by Aspire. We're not sure what that means just yet, but I'm thinking, well, it's not very autonomous then. Any income from the investment is passed on in the form of a dividend or reinvested as we see fit. Okay, so it gets all the money. So none left for the sub. So not autonomous at all. So the subsidiary does not make any decisions as to where to place the investments. So can you see the sub has no autonomy at all? The sub is basically fully controlled, fully directed by Aspire. So Aspire is in total control. And if that's the case, then surely the functional currency must be the same as Aspire, simply because that's all Aspire is doing. Aspire is using the sub for just a foreign investment. For a foreign investment in dinars bonds. That's all. The functional currency remains dollars, and it happens to be a subsidiary, but it's basically just an investment. Okay, they don't keep anything themselves. It doesn't matter how well they do as a business in dinars. So it's all about this autonomy. How autonomous? How much cash does it have left for itself? It must be autonomous for this to happen. Okay, and so therefore, as a whole, we think dollars is the functional currency.